The identification of the dead occupants was released to the public by the Routt County coroner not long after the fatal crash. Friends referred to the 42-year-old passenger as Jess, a former figure skater who had permutated into the owner of a construction company that she had inherited when her father had retired in 2022. That's the reason she was on the afternoon flight from Longmont, a city nestled in the foothills north of Denver, to Ogden, Utah. Pilot Dan Dunn was heading that way also. He had invited her to ride along in his Golden Eagle. As it always does, the NTSB report begins like this. On June 17, 2024, 1623 local time, a Cessna 421, November 245 Tango, was destroyed when it was involved in an accident in the mountains of Colorado. The pilot and passenger were fatally injured. It's such a sterile way of saying that Dan Dunn, age 67, and Jessica Melton, 42, died in a fireball in a trailer park surrounded by the empty ski slopes of Steamboat Springs. The 421C is powered by two Continental GT SIO 520 reciprocating engines. The T in that name stands for turbo, which helps the 520 cubic inch engines reach 375 horsepower. As a total of 750 turboed horsepower to lift up to 7,400 pounds. Turbos are great at elevation, making the Golden Eagle a perfect personal airplane to hop the steep slope of the Rocky Mountains. Everything apparently went fine on the climb out. Even with turbos, the heat of summer and the elevation of the Colorado foothills meant that the aircraft had to fly an extended pattern over the northern outskirts of Denver to climb to a safe altitude to cross the slopes. Eventually, the Cessna leveled off at 16,000 feet, where it remained until the pilot radioed air traffic control describing elevated cylinder temperatures. Oddly, following this, ADSB data indicates that the airspeed increased from the rough 160 knot cruise speed to 230 knots. In general, you'd expect a decrease in airspeed as power is reduced to cool the hot engine, but perhaps Dan felt that he needed to increase airflow across the cowl to cool the offending cylinder. 23 miles southeast of Steamboat Springs, ATC provided vectors, at Dan's request, to the mountainous airport. Not long after turning north, the Golden Eagle began a descent. By 13,000 feet, the airspeed had decayed to 145 knots before accelerating once again to nearly 200 knots. During all of this, the aircraft flew a path which closely paralleled Bob Adams Field and Steamboat. It's a scenic place, if not a bit intimidating to take an ailing twin. Perhaps for this reason, or perhaps because grounding a Golden Eagle and Steamboat would be a pain, the pilot changed his mind and informed ATC that he would like vectors to Northern Colorado Regional Airport, not terribly far from where they had departed an hour prior. The NTSB does not comment on the attempted 150-mile diversion to Fort Collins, which would have represented about an hour's worth of hobbling over the mountains nursing a bad engine. As he approached a ridge northeast of Steamboat's Bob Adams Field, the pilot reported that he had lost the left engine. Dan and Jess turned back toward Steamboat in an odd curved flight track, likely in order to lose the altitude that Dan needed to land. An employee for the fixed base operator at SBS who was monitoring the universal communications frequency told NTSB investigators that he heard the pilot announce a 4-mile final to runway 16. Likely the Golden Eagle was still too high to make the runway, because soon after Dan amended that he was joining a base leg for runway 32. The airplane was soon after observed entering a flat, spiraling descent. A post-impact fire ensued after the Cessna crashed between two mobile homes and a trailer park a half-mile from runway 32. Impact signatures were consistent with the airplane striking in a near-horizontal attitude consistent with the flat spin. The propeller blades on the left engine appeared to be in the feathered position. The NTSB will take a few months to sort it all out. The probable cause will come with a typical institutional aloofness. Loss of control at low altitude due to insufficient airspeed. Contributing to the accident is a failed left engine. High-density altitude in June at the mountain resort community didn't help either. The Golden Eagle is a pressurized pistol of an airplane. At max weight, it has a service ceiling of nearly 15,000 feet with only one engine. Though Bob Adams Field is nestled in the mountains, the airport itself is only 6,900 feet above sea level. Even if it was blazing hot, the density altitude wouldn't have been much over 10,000 feet. Dan's final flight path, along with the airport worker's testimony, suggests that he initially intended to land straight ahead on runway 16. He changed his mind once again and instead entered a right downwind for 32. This was an odd decision. It placed Dan and Jess against the slope of the terrain. As the Golden Eagle got close to the hillside, it would have been tempting to trade off airspeed for a bit of altitude. Ultimately, the Cessna entered a flat spin, which itself is a bit unusual. VMC rolls are the bane of single-engine operations of multi-engine aircraft, but that almost always involves a large bank followed by a nose-down spin. If Dan had given a hard yank on the elevator, turning on a final, perhaps that put the Cessna into a steep stall. 375 horsepower worth of rotational torque on the right engine might have been enough to turn the stall into a flat spin. If you're looking for a lesson, this is it. Stick to your original plan. Dan had already begun his descent into Steamboat when he changed his mind for a return to Denver's western slope. With the terrain surrounding him, this would have necessitated dumping fuel into overheating cylinders. The left engine apparently failed not long after he added power to climb back to 14,000 feet. Had he stuck to his original plan and continued his descent, he could have easily managed the majority, if not all, of the approach with the left engine at idle, available for a burst of power if he needed it. There are worse places in the world to be stranded. Nestled in the mountains, 100 pubs offering happy hour to the summer crowd. It's a shame. As always, God bless them.